consult 1 minute, Mr. Speaker, on that.
You may proceed Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond to the other questions.
Yeah, so on the specifics of the amounts, we may need to check and supply. But the information, monthly payments, if the Honorable Senate would want, we would still supply it. In fact, we have all the data from the time when this contract was entered into, all the amounts. Now let me respond to the specific questions by Senator Esther. I've not forgotten you. Sometimes, you know, when you are...
Senator Fernandi, take your seat. Sometimes
when you are graduating in age, we don't say you are advancing, but you are graduating in age, your eyes sometimes become, start misbehaving. But we also, politicians don't like wearing specs. You'll notice most politicians, even when they get to 70, 80, they don't like wearing specs, apart from a few like the leader of minority and Senator Faki. But let me respond by saying that why are hostels still being owed? I think there have been challenges with NHIF. Generally, that is why the government even saw it fit to change the system. There has been a lot of fraudulent activities around NHIF in terms of collusion with service providers, the hostels, and that has complicated the management of this fund. But I would assure this House that there is a high-level engagement to ensure that all pending bills are paid. A lot of pending bills are also owed to NHIF, even by government institutions. And I have the figure, the last meeting we had of a cabinet meeting engaged in this exercise, we agreed that Treasury will work very closely with the ministry to ensure that NHIF, we pay the money that is owed to NHIF so that NHIF can also pay the hostels for a smooth transition to the new system. So there is work going on that. To Senator Chute, final dues not paid since 2020 to a Kenyan, that is very unfair. Actually, let me also confess that I almost said my constituency, but the constituency I've represented for 15 years. There's a lady who yesterday sent me details of her husband, the final dues, and she wants that paid. The husband was a former assistant chief. So there is a problem with the payment of final dues, and this is something that will take. So if I could get for the case, so that we address this specific case, but I think we need to have a clear vision on how to resolve all the cases so that they don't come one by. There are people who may not access a senator or a member of parliament. But on this particular one, Senator, you can give us the details and we'll be able to follow it. Senator Wamatinga, the plans to reintroduce Huduma numbers, especially on issues of land compensation. I want to be very clear that what remains the standard document in this country as proof of your being a Kenyan or as a proof of your existence in this country is still national ID. And that is, to me, the anchor point. These others, we can look for ways of integration, integrating our systems, but we must anchor it on national ID. Allow me, Mr. Speaker, to address the issue of pending bills. I think the issue of Senator Kavindu is again on pending bills. I think I addressed that earlier when I was addressing issues that were raised by Senator Esther. Okay? And then on the issue of issues raised by Tabitha, Senator Tabitha, where application for IDs, and then I think the application for IDs take too long. Maybe I didn't capture it well.
Senator Tabitha.
Just maybe clarify.
Honorable CS, have your team help you by noting down these questions.
Yeah.
Proceed.
I was just asking, the application fee is 300.
No, I got it.
Replacement fee is 1,000.
I get it now. I get it now.
But my question was, why don't we then bring it to zero cost, since we are Kenyans and we deserve to have the idea, what's your take? And then who owns e-citizen?
Yeah, the one for each citizen I captured. Now, on the ID, Senator, interestingly, I agree with you. Actually, I'm one of the people who are in this school of thought that you don't have to pay to be registered as a Kenyan if we can take up this cost. And not long ago, I spoke to this differently. I don't want to speak a different language because I'm today a CS. I don't think it is wise to charge for new applicants. Maybe you can charge for replacement because, again, you need to be careful. When you are given a national identity, you need to protect it so that you don't lose it. But when you are applying for the first time, I am in agreement that this is a fee that needs to be reconsidered. I now sit in the government. I will use that platform to speak in the line that you are speaking. Once the government takes that position, then I will now join the government in speaking the position of the government because I'm in the cabinet. I hope you understand the difference there. Who owns each citizen? Each citizen is now run by the government. And why we pay, I think I explained that you pay for convenience. That is why it is called convenience fee. So you may have a problem with it, but that is the rationale for which it was introduced. It can be debatable whether it's a wise idea, but you pay for convenience because in the absence of this each citizen, it was quite inconveniencing to get government services. And Senator Veronica, a plan to onboard chief onto e-citizen. As we speak, there is high level of engagement in the government to see how to integrate all this system. And I think very soon we will be able to onboard all this shift onto the e-citizen because it's now the standard government payment platform. And we have seen that we have reduced, let me not say eliminated, reduced leakages of public funds the moment we resorted to this single account, the 22222. So we must onboard shift to the e-citizen. The last question is, I was asked by about 4 senators, and I'll combine it because it's one answer. Senator for Embu was the first one to ask, and he asked in Kiswahili. You'll forgive me, I'll answer it in English. And then Senator for Wajir County, the Senator Bass, and of course Senator Faki of Mombasa, asked about the transfer of funds to the counties. I need no persuasion that transfers of funds to the counties must be done timeously. And I think we had agreed that it should be on 5th of the following month. And that we need to follow religiously. I know we have had quite a bit of challenges in terms of cash flow, but the problem that we have had at the beginning of this financial year was not entirely on cash flow. Actually, it doesn't help National Treasury to keep piling transfers to counties. It doesn't, because we just end up with huge bills to pay at a specific time. So we are very comfortable with regular and continuous transfers. However, the problems that we encountered at the beginning of this year is primarily, number one, was the legal challenges or the legal issues. There were 2 schools of thought, because the senators are aware that we haven't passed the CARA for 2024-25. The houses, the 2 houses have not passed CARA. So there were 2 schools of thought. There was one school of thought which believed that we cannot transfer money to the counties until and unless you have two critical pieces of legislation. That is the DORA and the CARA. Then there's another school of thought where, fortunately, I belong, that we have regulations in place which allow that you can transfer up to 50% of the previous year's allocation, which in this case was 385 billion. But again, to be very careful and be clear, my office had to seek legal opinion from the Office of the Attorney General, which fortunately we got. And the Attorney General was in agreement with the second school of thought where I belong. Now, so in July, we cleared the last financial year, 2023-24. We paid 30.8 billion in July to clear that financial year. Then last week, we paid July allocation, and we paid 31.8 billion to counties. So we haven't paid the August and now September allocations. But I would guarantee that we are making plans to make another payment for the month, at least one more payment. My aim is to make sure that we cover the, because we seem to be having a deficit of not less than a month. So we will try to catch up. Before the end of this year, we must catch up so that we don't have any outstanding amount to the counties. But having said that, because senators are also responsible for oversighting the counties, I want to say this, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, that let us also try to put pressure on the counties to be able to sort out their issues with the controller of budget so that we don't have huge balances sitting in the CRF account. As we speak today, there is 42 billion which has not been absorbed or taken up by counties. And the details are there. I don't want to go to the specific details of the counties. We have 42 billion, 380 million, 773,000. That counties have not been able to access. The money is there in the CRF account, 38.2 billion. And again, another 3 billion under recurrent, and another 969 million under development vote. So we need to have absorption which is smooth, because as an accountant and as a finance expert, the last thing you'd want to see is balances accumulating in idle accounts. It doesn't add value to the economy. It slows economic growth, because we need, once the money is transferred to the CRF, it should go to the counties, pay salaries, pay whatever recurrent, and pay and get into development. Because as we speak, largely the development money should be with the counties. The national government the development budget is shrinking by the day. So I don't want to go beyond that. Maybe another day we'll have opportunity now to talk about the transfers to counties and absorption of the budgets or of the exchequer releases. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I would end there. I hope I covered almost all the questions.
Thank you.
That was
Thank
asked.
you,
Thank you.
CS. If your question has not been adequately covered, it shall be covered in the due course before the CS leaves, because he has 3 more questions to respond to. Senator Muma, proceed to ask your question. Question number 060.
Honorable Speaker, my question to the